Hello and welcome to Federal Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's Rugby Championship Round 2 Team of the Week. And unfortunately for South African fans, it's not going to be a fun Team of the Week. I've actually managed to find space for just one, and even that could potentially be quite contentious. It was a South African performance to remember for the last part of the game. And that's what that first sort of 20-minute period that we're sort of talking about. But I think overall, we were never truly in the game at any sort of point. I don't think at any point did it look as if we could really come back and win. There was definitely a point where comeback was kind of on and it was sort of moving in the right direction. And then you can see, so we were kind of chasing the game the entire time. I think if we're going to be brutally honest with ourselves, we were outplayed and we didn't pitch up. And that's the reality of it. And sometimes you get things wrong, sometimes you get things right. We got it wrong this weekend. And so, there's two ways to go about it. You can sort of completely panic and stuff like that. Or alternatively, you can go and look at how chuffed we were with live 2 weeks ago when we beat Australia. And whilst, Australia and New Zealand, two very, very different sides, there have been a few positives the last few weeks. Now, I think last week, for me, this weekend rather, was a bit of a reminder, a bit of a sort of a warning that going into the World Cup, we need to make sure that our entire squad has got minutes under their belt. The entire squad is aligned and the entire squad is performing at the best of their abilities. If not, we need to start making big decisions. I don't think you need to start making big decisions yet. This is the squad we're taking to the World Cup. This is the squad we need to bring back the World Cup. But within the squad itself, decisions might need to start to be made over the next few weeks. I don't think there's any point making them after this weekend. I think you've got to look at the next two games against Argentina, and they probably sort of start making a couple of decisions about that moving into New Zealand test, Twickenham, and then our final one game, which is against Wales. But that's a chat for another time. So today we're going to be looking at a team of the week, and obviously it's going to be dominated by New Zealand and Argentina players. I have found space for a couple of Wallabies players and just a solitary Springbok player. So before I show you the team of the week, smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Unfortunately, there's no rugby this weekend, really. So it's going to be a Formula 1 weekend. We will be back with the Rugby Championship next weekend, and then the Summer Nation Series really gets to off in August. That's going to be very busy. Also, big news: we will be announcing our Rugby World Cup campaign plans on Thursday at about 9 o'clock. So keep an eye out for that. It'll probably be a premiere video, and really excited to show you guys exactly what we've got planned for the World Cup. But without any further ado, this is my team of the week. Now, as you can see, we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 New Zealand players, so more than half the team are from New Zealand. Argentina have got 1, 2, 3, 4 players in there. 2 Australians and 1 South African. And so my favorite thing about being team of the week is it's very interesting to see what other people have to say and people where people agree and where people disagree. So the front row, I've gone with Eating the Goot. I don't think that France Mahoma had the best again. I don't think he Ethan DeGood really ever got the best of him. He's a big scrummager, so the scrums are pretty solid. And there were a couple of times where that Springbok front row definitely did get the dominance that they wanted to. But I thought in open play, I thought Ethan DeGood was very good. I think he's been a very good find. He's been, for me, a bit of a catalyst for the sort of the comeback we're seeing from the New Zealand. I think, for me, I've always said we talk about the New Zealand teams of old. I mean, how good they were, but for me, what was always to stand out was how good that tight five was. With Brody Return, Sam Whitelock were at their absolute best. We had the Franks brothers, Kevin Milamo and Dan Cole's playing their best, and how good that tight five was. And they kind of lacked that the last few years. But I do think Ethan DeGood has been a big part of sort of tightening it up. Samisoni Takawao as well, playing a pretty big role there. Hooked up Gomez Junior Montoya. I think that was a pretty straightforward pick, to be honest. I thought he was absolutely mental. Malcolm Marx very good off the bench. Looked to just pick up where he was last year. Didn't manage to get as much luck at the breakdown, but he really was tested from a leadership perspective. Was Montoya this weekend? They went down and then had to come back, and then went down again. And he's just always everywhere. He's a good ball carrier. He really gets a lot around the park, makes a lot of tackles, and keeps the sort of side in the game. So a big shout out to him, not only for his playing, but also for his captaincy. We think about so this was interesting. Well, a lot of people have got Tyrrell Lomax, but I think if you look, I think that I don't know, discipline sometimes gets the better of him, but he played like 73 minutes over the weekend. I think he was one of the top tacklers in the entire game, which for a tight end is pretty impressive. So, for me, I think that he sort of probably edged Tyrrell Lomax. I don't think it was a great game for France Moherba. And so I think that's why I've got another turn. A lot of combinations. Brody Telic, I thought he was looking not at his best because his best is World Player of the Year, but looked really there. Got through around the park, a lot of carries, a lot of tackles, a lot of physicality on display. I thought he was very good in the lineouts as well. I think that what he proved is that he's still around and still playing some of the best rugby, and should still definitely be in the plans for starting and being heavily involved come the World Cup. And number 5, got Thomas Lavanini. Look, it's a beautiful day for, I think, both the Australian locks as well as the South African locks. Even if Lua Dialga, Arthur Simon was all right when he came on, but Frank Moss, none of them really sort of, Frank Moss playing the flank. But sort of, I think any of our locks really sort of stood up this weekend. I thought Will Skelton was a little bit better for Australia. He looked a bit better than he was down in South Africa, but still not the sort of impact he has overseas. So I got Thomas Lavanini, who I thought was absolutely relentless, carried ball after ball after ball. His work rate was insane. And I think, I think he carried about 13, 14 times. Scott Barrett, I thought, was once again pretty good, but I've gone with Lavanini there. So my only selection I've managed to go is Parker Smith. And that's why I was looking kind of at the different loose trios over the weekend. And I was kind of thinking, well, if I wanted to put together a loose trio of sort of the different sort of skills and stuff like that, I thought that Parker Smith didn't manage to get as much success to the breakdown as he would have liked to. And I think a couple of times maybe deserved a bit more from it. But it was incredibly hard working display from him. He had, unfortunately, we didn't really get to hit too many rucks. And I think a lot of that was because of the speed of play, which New Zealand were booming. Aaron Smith getting that ball out unbelievably quickly. So he didn't get to do as much. He definitely grew into the game. And unfortunately, I think, when it criticize people, but it's amazing how when Dwayne Smith and PSA Detroit came on, Parker Smith just flicked a switch and looked like a completely different player. He ended up making 18 tackles. I think he carried the ball about 8 or 9 times. I think he did. I think he still ended up with about 2 or 3 steals and obviously that try. I thought that Fraser McGrath was pretty absent for Australia. I thought Sam Kane was having a decent, reasonable game, but went for quite early. Elsewhere, I mean, Pablo Matera had a decent game, but I wasn't blown away by him. So I've gone with Pocket Smith, Shannon Brazil, and John Martin Gonzalez, pretty much as a combination. I mean, Shannon Brazil, put it in there because we all know sketchy past, and but he was very good. And then John Martin Gonzalez, tell you what, remember the name, and he just keeps getting better, doesn't he? But not only just is he such an exciting player, especially with ball and hand stuff, but the headedness that we're starting to see as well is, I mean, for him to go score that winning try, 22 years old in a high press situation, to have the presence of mind, to not panic, see spot the gap, manage to go over and score it, I think shows you the class that he is. Very, very interesting to see how his career goes. I think he's going to be an Argentinian great if he continues sort of this upward trajectory. Play across the back row, which I think is also pretty exciting. The fact that he was playing at 8 and still looked really good. He's already got about 2021 caps for Argentina, and he's 22 years old. He's scored like 6 or 7 tries already. So yeah, he's a very exciting player, and I think he's one that anybody should be watching. Halfback pairing was pretty easy. Aaron Smith, masterclass. Richie Mo'unga, masterclass. In fact, I think Richie Mo'unga was probably my player of the week. I haven't seen him play that well, in a while. In the New Zealand shirt, there's been a lot of talk over the last sort of 12 months. Who should be the All Black fly half? Should it be Mo'unga? Should it be Bowen Barrett? Damien McKenzie now coming back and putting himself in the mix. This weekend, I think, showed that Richie Mo'unga is still the number 1 10. I thought he controlled the game brilliantly. I thought that he really looked very composed, and his goalkeeping was absolutely flawless. I thought Craig Cooper was a lot better. A lot of people criticizing him. I thought that's a bit harsh, but he looked a lot better this weekend. Was involved in the opening try for Australia. David Williamson really struggled. Again, the pack struggled, and the entire box were on the back foot from the get-go, so it's always difficult for a 10 to really function when your pack's going backwards. And Guerrero's got to have moments of good, moments of bad. So overall, I thought just Richie Mo'unga was on a different level. And Aaron Smith, one of the best scrum masters of all time, him and Frida Prayer, I think, sitting atop there by themselves. And this weekend, roll back the year, his passing accuracy is unbelievable. For me, it was just the pace. It just absolutely hammered the Springboks in that first sort of 15 minutes, putting people into space, getting that ball out quickly. In terms of the wings, I've got with Will Jordan, who we know how devastating he is. People are still very upset about the fact that he's not playing at fullback, but I think this weekend probably showed how much he can still get involved on the wing, and he can still be so destructive. So I've got him there in the 11, and on the other wing, I've got him with Mark Nawangani Tawase. He scored a brilliant try, but I think very much sort of proved that he should be starting week in, week out, and that he is next to Corey Bay to the top, or him and Corey Bay to the top wings for Australia. So that was pretty easy. I continue to be very impressed with Jordy Barrett. Damien Danelli looked like a player who hadn't played in a while. I thought that Geronimo De La Fuente made a big difference to Argentina. I thought that he was much better. I think Simon Correa also made a difference to Australia. But I'll go with Jordy Barrett. I thought that he, his kicking options as well. I think he provides something a bit different. Tell you what, I could have almost put Carter Gordon this name into this obviously after a pretty good performance at centre this weekend as well. But I thought Geordie was pretty flawless, to be honest. Didn't miss a single tackle from what I can remember. Didn't get as much ball in hand, but kicked pretty well. And I think, the All Blacks got a very interesting axis with that Mo'unga, Barrett sort of combination. I got Mauricio Cinti at outside centre. I was a little bit critical of him in the first round, but taking his inside centre, I thought that swap over there, I thought that he looked really, really good. I think that he is a talented player. I think he's got a lot in his arsenal, but I think that having De La Fuente on the inside of him really started bringing up the best. He's 23 years old, so he's still a young player with a lot to offer. But I thought this weekend, you started to see why he's excited about him. And I think it'll be interesting to see sort of the combinations that Michael Cheika does play with regarding the Argentinian side moving into the World Cup. And I've got Beauden Barrett at fullback. Buffini kicked pretty well. Billy LaRue, I thought, had a really good game. A lot of people are finally sort of coming and understanding just how important he is to the way that the Boks play. So I thought that he was once again very, very good. I thought Tom Wright was pretty quiet. So I'll go with Beauden Barrett. I think that is it. I think the All Blacks will stick with his axis. I think having those three different kickers, decision makers, playmakers in that 10, 12, 15 axis, I think is really going to get the best out of them, especially if they still have a Will Jordan floating around, for example. So that is my team of the week. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Let me know what changes you would make, and what you agree with and what you disagree with. This is the nice thing. Everybody will have a different opinion. And that's sort of my take. Let me know what yours are. Smash like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. And I'll see you guys all next time.